If you're watching this presentation, you're probably after some help or a starting point to get something transported. So this presentation is a quick overview of what's available to help you move large quantities of goods, products and services from one place to another, and it's aimed at helping out people in Australia mainly, probably in the Sydney area. Logistics solutions in Sydney. Now, a quick definition. Logistics is the management of the flow of goods or people, and sometimes information or other resources, and so it's from a starting point to an end point between one place and another. And you'll often come across the term supply chain, which is the whole linked set of steps or resources. You might start off with a truck, and the truck delivers to a train, which goes to a port for shipping, and so on. And you might need to set one of these up, but then again you might only need a courier if you've just got a small package of goods to send somewhere. But when you do a search on one of the search engines and you include the term logistics, you'll find a large number of logistics consultancies, far more than the actual companies who provide the service, the trucking companies and the air companies and things like that. And this makes sense because logistics is a lot about linking together the ships and the trucks and the supply chain and managing the whole chain of resources that you need to transport the product. The consultancies generally provide advice on how to interconnect all the steps, and they often offer to manage it for you. But if you know exactly what you'll need, if you know you need a truck or you need a courier, it's probably better to search using the more specialised term. Just search for a courier or shipping company or something. Another set of results that come up quite often are software results for logistics management. You may or may not need software. Okay, logistics consultants. Now, consultants, they generally recommend a solution. They know how to get something sent from one place to another, and they may execute the solution for you or manage it for you if you want them to. But it's a bit of a sliding scale. Consultancies lean more towards the management of the companies that provide the transport, and the providers sort of manage their own link in the chain. But there's often a bit of an overlap. A trucking company might provide some warehousing or they may have some other facilities as well. Now, there are a lot of links in these slides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it into a PDF where the links are clickable, and you can download the PDF from sydneylogistics.com. And I'll show you the link a bit later in the presentation. Alright, well, you usually find someone who specialises in one type of transport or another by searching for the more precise term. If you want a trucking company, you'd search for trucking or trucking fleet or something like that. But there are companies that provide more than one link in the supply chain themselves, and they're often returned in the search results too. Like I mentioned before, lots of companies provide warehousing. A trucking company will have a warehouse where you can store your goods for a while, or something like that. And here's a list of some trucking companies in Sydney and the New South Wales area. Now, there are some groups that are set up to best handle distribution internally inside the country. In Australia, between Sydney and other major cities, and there are some that are set up mainly to handle export of goods, import from international areas. And these are three that handle or specialise in handle delivery to Australian cities and Australian areas. And we'll look at each of these in turn. The first is the QLS group, QLS Logistics, and they're a good example of a logistics company that are tailored to internal Australian distribution, and they've got container transport, they do unpacking and storage, they can handle metropolitan deliveries and freighting to areas in the country, and all the sort of interstate deliveries that you might need to do. Now Kings, I believe they're a family company, but they're a very good example of a logistics company that have their own fleet and all their own equipment. They've got taxi trucks and couriers, and they handle the warehousing, and they can handle a lot of the steps of a supply chain without needing to outsource anything or involve any additional parties. Schenker's a worldwide organisation. I'm not sure where the main office is, but they're in almost every country you can find. But they're also really well set up to handle local areas as well. And there's a local website for Australia, and contacts are in Australia, and they can handle deliveries between Australia and New Zealand. And they're definitely worthwhile checking out if you need to do some of the larger scale deliveries. Okay, Sea and Air Global Solutions. Here are a couple of companies that handle global distribution for you from Australia. It's ambassadorinternational.com and stockwells.com.au. Now, even though the presentation is mainly for larger scale delivery of goods, you do get a large number of courier services when you search for logistics solutions. And you're not constrained to use FedEx or Australia Post. In Australia, they're the two most obvious ones you think of. There are a lot of other good companies as well, and here are 5 of them. Logistic brokers come up, and they're similar to other types of brokers. They'll help you find a suitable company for a fee or a cut of the sale. And they often specialise in a particular type of product. This is just one here, awscustoms.com.au. And they specialise in moving boats around for you, yachts and small cruises, things like that. Alright, drop shipping. Now some companies drop ship for you. And what drop shipping is where you get your product delivered to them, or they pick up your product, and they'll pack it for you, they'll warehouse it if you need to, and they'll organise transporting it. And they'll brand it with your brand. There won't be any mention of any other company or them. So it's all done for you, and it's a great solution if you're a small business or a business without the ability to store or handle a lot of goods yourself, particularly if you're an internet business. You can buy and sell goods online and just get them sent straight to the drop shipper, and they'll handle all the delivery for you. Okay, now, as I mentioned earlier, there were a heap of links in these slides, and you can download the full clickable list from sydneylogistics.com. I hope this information has been helpful.